Further back on the road, the guy who's now pressuring Courtney is the other Team Vodafone Triple Eight car of Lowndes. Then it's Mark Winterbottom. Cam McConville doing a terrific job.
He's getting a little touch there and enough to shift him, but is it enough to... Oh, huge moment! Man.
That's fine, then we've got to get on with the rest of the game. Thanks, Roland. Okay.
Right, Mark Winterbottom, tough luck out there. What exactly happened?
Oh, well, you know, Lowndes and Courtney are out there banging around, and when they sprint in front of you, got nowhere to go. But I think
that initial burst of adrenaline to start the race now settles into the rhythm time and on track. He's in. Whoa, he's gone into the wall. Straight into the wall, and huge damage at turn 8 for Will Davison.
Turned it in some
Flipped me into turn 8. I've gone in hard.
He rounded up James Moffat. I can see it all brewing in the background. Anytime you go narrow into turn 8, he got a little bump. There was a touch as well. Flick to the first timing sector on this lap. They've actually all tightened up again as everybody's sort of found balance with their cars, played with the bars.
There's one in the fence. There's one in the fence hard at turn 8.
And Douglas is gone. There must be oil down there. There's stuff down there because they're spearing off everywhere. Taz Douglas has gone into the wall on the other side. Courtney was the first in, and somebody else has followed them heavily.
This is turn.
It's Jason Bright. Big incident. There he is. And by this time, Jason Bright arrives. That's what you heard then. Oh, man.
Big contact for Courtney. And Bright was talking about there being oil down there. So whether that was there before or after the fact, but certainly Bright has ended up in the mess that Courtney's left behind. But wonder why Courtney ended up in there in the first instance.
He's saying on the radio that something broke in the back. And that is a very big incident. I've gone in that fence like that, and I can tell you it is as hard and as the most severe incident in this country is that corner.
After the break, and this will show you what's happened. Murph arrives in a hurry. Wow.
This has been coming for a long time, this sort of incident, unfortunately. It's this huge speed differential as everyone tries to find their space. You know, somebody's at full tilt, in this case Greg Murphy, while someone else is just dawdling along. And yeah, that's just very, very bad and sad to see.
The colour scan Falcon. Osborne, look at this. Lowndes switches, well, yeah, it is contact. He's clipped the back of the colour scan forward, and look at it, ricocheting off the concrete walls at something like 200 kilometres an hour.
There, but Cameron went onto the ripple strip and that tilted the car, of course. So
they're touching, they're side to side on the way to 8.
Kelly gets past Cameron McConville. Now there's a bingo here.
Will they get through there two abreast?
Well,
yeah, no, they won't. There's chaos. There's chaos.
Oh, this is
and
a
I
bad
didn't
one.
think you could possibly get two cars through there. This stuff's
here. We've got to look at this from a few angles.
It's Dumbrell here trying to make a pass on Cameron McConville, and this in the sweeper
just touched him, just enough to turn him around.
And look at what happened. Damage. It was barely a touch. It looked like they didn't touch
it.
Well,
220 Ks, you can imagine.
No, it doesn't take much. And the cars are fairly unloaded there.
Just enough of a touch, look at that.
Yeah.
Push the tail out. Cam trying to gather the car up, but by that stage,
a victim.
So Jones and Stephen Johnson.
It's been there and come down, and something failed in the rear, and the rear brakes went straight to the brake pedal, went straight to the floor, and when you're going...
You went out there this morning and set the 10th fastest time. You've actually gone a second quicker than yesterday.
Yeah, it was actually it's a great chassis. Peter Behag built him. He's a Ford Motorsport builder for the chassis. And
The Zinger replay. Let's focus on the apex. Oh, he's well wide and hits it with huge speed. That'd be a 200 km/h impact on the outside of 8, and that was happening before he got there.
The car wasn't turning.
Most people have generally had a problem if they've touched the inside ripple strip, but it doesn't appear as though that's happened. He's grabbed the brake, he being Steve Ellery, and has given it a severe wheel alignment.
Not the way the Queenslander
Seaton walking away from this.
Coming around here. Here he comes. Wow! Another couple of 100 metres at least down here. Look at this. Glenn Seaton comes in hard on the left-hand side.
Whoa, the car following, it might have been one of the Castrol Commodores, almost lost it as well. Safety car has now joined the circuit. It was on standby. Have a look at this from another angle.
And just take a look at the concrete wall that he's left behind him.
That is incredible, the physics of that accident.
Car 34 of Robert Dahlgren makes another journey through the pit lane. Okay, restart time. Puts it in the hands of Shane Van Gisbergen in the acceleration zone. Look at them all spread out. They go in search of their own piece of real estate. They bump and grind and push and shove. And now they've got to come all back together again for turn one. Jason Bright over and up and into the wall. Oh.
That started with Slade down the inside.
Down. Here's the replay. This will give us some explanations.
They'll try to come in together, so it's Tim Slade leans on the Holden Racing Team car, which just sends Team VOC Commodore flipping into the air. This was what happened. They all fanned out and then they all came back in, and it was never going to work. Van Gisbergen and Kelly get through, and then watch car 47 just pushes across, and it doesn't take much for Garth Tander just to lean on the front left-hand side of Jason Bright.
It's that secondary impact that's the worry there with the wall, and it got right up on the top of the debris fence.
This is Lee Holdsworth's view. Oh, that was the big crunch that he... Okay, so he got hit by Scott Pye and a few others.
The contact actually started with the two Red Bull cars. They actually made contact on the way in there also. There's Slade down the inside. He makes contact with Tander. Tander makes contact with Bright. Totally out on the slide. Full opposite lock, so he's trying to steer it down. So Jason's trying to make sure it doesn't turn onto its roof. It then catches the curb, and the curb then trips it over. So as it gets to that point there, it was always going to turn over.
Must have picked up the front right wheel of Tander's car in order to be able to do that launch, and Tander's in the pit lane and has been there for a while now as well, so it'd be pretty fair old damage on that. It's this next whack with the wall. This stuff looks spectacular, but at that stage, you know, it's not crazy amount of damage. It's this next one where it hits the concrete wall. It is tyre protected and then gets into the debris fence, where they're going to have a big nightmare trying to resolve getting this car back in shape.
Fortunately, where the massive load has actually taken place in terms of the final part of the crash, Neil, it was actually against the tyres there. That's taken some load away from that.
And that's a tonne and a half. Yeah. It's a tonne and a half in the air there.
It's just been tossed around like a toy car.
I'm in the garage with Brad Jones, and Brad, no team is more of a family than yours, and just collectively...